And we are live. Welcome everyone. This is Douglas McMahon, aka Lord Galaban. This is the RaxOnRaxx Discord cryptocurrency class. We are in class number 3. We will be going over EtherScan today. Last week we discussed DEX tools. It unfortunately didn't get taped properly, but I redid the class in the Gangsta Kong Discord and made a beautiful recording. So if anybody wants to go back and check out that, they can. It is on youtube.com/Lord Galaban. It will be under the videos. It is posted up and it went well. I've already tested it and looked at it. Everything went well. This week, we will be going over EtherScan. At the end of last week's episode, we talked about how you can actually get to EtherScan from the DEX tools, and I will show you how to link that over and how to jump over. Right now on the page, as you can see, I have up the main EtherScan page. It is at etherscan.io. Like DEX tools is also hosted on the IO network, so it shouldn't be too hard. I'm trying to keep all of these to where they're linked, so it makes it much easier in which to follow along with the classes. If you're on your PC, you'll be able to go into the Discord right now. We are live in Discord to where you can watch the screen there, or you can do it up on your own PC. You just got to punch in etherscan.io. That is etherscan.io, and it will take you right to the page where I am sitting on and where I'm showing it on the screen right now. If you're in the Discord, you can at any given time chime in if you have a question. We can stop, we can go over your question, because it's much easier to answer questions as they are raised instead of watching the video or listening to the video and wondering aloud to yourself if you have a question and then trying to track me down and put everything together. It's a whole lot easier if you're in the classes. We hold these classes every Tuesday. I hold the Gangsta Kong class at 11 a.m. Western Time, United States, which is noon my time, and then we have the Rax class approximately 20 minutes after we get done with the Gangsta Kong class, because I need a little bit of time to go grab something to drink and the whatever. If you're in the classroom right now, I know we've got at least 2 or 3 people in there. And we do have returning students, so that is beautiful. I love seeing the interaction with the class, and hopefully in the future we will have these classes filled up. And let's go ahead and start learning. So let's go ahead and take a look at EtherScan. Number 1, EtherScan is what your wallet is kept on, basically, and it allows you to go back and see everything that you have done on your wallet or anybody else's public wallet. And we will just pick a random one off of DEX tools. I'm going to pull up one off of the spell. I'm just going to pull up the very last actual human interaction. If you pull up a bot EtherScan, you're usually going to have a whole lot of pending transactions, so it'll make it really hard in which to teach a class. So we're going to pull up the last human transaction that actually happened. Here on the main page, though, before we get to that, we can go over a few of the things that they show here on the main page. This right here is the search address bar. If you copy your MetaMask address, you can literally just click it right in. And since I know that I have my MetaMask address, I'm going to paste it right in there. As you can see, it pastes right in and it shows my MetaMask itself. Now, we could go over my MetaMask, but my MetaMask is public. If somebody wants to go and look over all my transactions, so be it. I don't give a squat. I'm very transparent, but we won't be using mine, but I just wanted to show you that that's how it will show up. So we'll go ahead and we'll erase that. You could go to any one of a different number of places. You can punch it in by the address, you can punch it in by the transaction number, by the block that it's on, by the token that you're looking at, or by an ENS. I know we could punch in an ENS. We could actually look at RaxOnRaxx's. Since it's his class, you know what? Let's use his. That's a good idea. RaxOnRaxx dot, they believe it's .eth. Let's see if that'll pull up. So we'll leave that right there for right now. Next thing we're going to take a look at is up here at the very top. You'll have the main EtherScan. You can see by my mouse that it is a clickable link. If you click on that, it will simply bring you right back to the same exact page. So at any given time, if you're anywhere in EtherScan moving around different pages on EtherScan, you can simply come up here to the top left where it has EtherScan, click on it, boom, you go right back to the main page and you can start over on whatever you're doing. Come over here to blockchain. These are all along the top here. Blockchain, you'll be able to view transactions, view pending transactions, all sorts of other different pull downs. We could spend multiple times on just those areas alone, but this is a basic understanding class of EtherScan, so we're not going to go really into depth on all of these different things that you can do. These are things that you can do in your own spare time whenever you have a few hours to kill, because you could literally go down rabbit holes on any given number of these things. Over on tokens, you can view ERC20 tokens. You can look at the top tokens. Again, it will bring out different pages on this main page, and it'll show you what goes on in those. ERC20 tokens are usually cryptocurrency tokens that you are buying and selling in order to make money. ERC721 tokens usually have to do with PFPs and NFTs the same way with ERC 1155 tokens. So that's how those are broke down. Resources, again, you can go into many different things. You can look at different charts, top statistics, developer APIs. That's all in EtherScan. These are all things that as you get more accustomed to using EtherScan, you might want to check them out, see what they do, see if it can help you in the different things that you're doing, be it buying and selling NFTs or buying and selling crypto tokens. And it even has a place there for the Ethereum directory, which will show you all sorts of different things. We could delve into that. We could take a look at it. But let's go ahead and learn how to read EtherScan before we go into other things first, because we want to get people taught about the basics here. On the more, you can see that it's broken down into the developers, DeFi, Explore, and Tools. It is a pull-down menu, very easily done with a mouse. You can go to any one of these different areas, and it breaks things down into its various components. And they've even got a couple of new things going on. They got a couple in beta, like token approvals. BlockScan Chat is now in beta. Under tools, you have a mining calculator if you happen to do mining. Under Explore, gas tracker, which if you're using EtherScan at the same time as you're using Dex Tools, the easiest way to get your gas tracker is to pop back over to Dex Tools real quick and look up there in the top left, and it'll show you what the gas is. So that's an easier way of doing that than having to just go to its own separate page here in EtherScan. Under DeFi, that is basically what we went over last week whenever we were discussing what you would use Dex Tools for. Dex Tools is the best thing I personally use in order to look up different ERC20 tokens, because it is a very distinctively used site, I guess is the best word, because it can be used as both a swap and as a lookup area, but I use it for anything having to do with DeFi tokens, things that are not kept on centralized exchanges. Under developers, there's a couple of new ones, smart contract search. So I guess if you want to do your own research on a smart contract having to do with a token or an NFT, you can simply punch it right in there and it'll probably take you to it. Same thing with the contract diff checker. I would have to guess that's the differentiator. So those are brand new ones that I really haven't even looked into yet whenever dealing with EtherScan, because it's brand new. Haha. Under the other ones, you can go and learn about those by simply clicking, and it will take you to them and show you how to do different things. Verifying contract, that is one I've used a lot before, because before I buy into an NFT that I'm not quite sure about, I will take their contract and punch it in there and see if it's actually on EtherScan. Because if it's not on EtherScan, then it might be sketchy. So that's a really good one in which to remember, because it can be very, very important to you. You can actually make an account with EtherScan. Me personally, I don't, because I don't need that. But it is there, and it is a utilizable tool. And even with the gas price, there, it shows your gas price right there. Right now, the median gas price is 30 gwei, $1.04. So right on the main page, it'll show you. It has how many transactions, which I don't know why anybody would really care too much about what the transactions are, because it's not really under your control anyways, so that's really not a needed thing. Having ether price, that's kind of nice. Market cap of EtherScan, well, I suppose if you're trading in EtherScan, you'd want to know that, but don't really need it all that much. Hash rate, if you're a super computer nerd, then you would probably care about hash rate. If you're just a normal person that's buying and selling NFTs or buying and selling a crypto, you really don't need to care about hash rate, so it's really not that much of a big deal. Ethereum transaction history just simply shows you how the flowchart's going. Latest blocks shows you who is making money and with what they're making it on, like Ethermine, the different pools, how many transactions they're having, which you can tell how busy they are. So that's showing you who's making the money, and unless you're one of those people that are mining, you're not the one making the money like that every single second. You're probably spending money. Then it shows you your latest transactions for what's popping up on any given thing that you're looking at. So with that being said, from the main page, if you have any questions, you can come down here. The normal things that are down at the bottom of any given web page: product, services, resources, company, how to contact them. I would have to imagine you're probably going to talk to a computer, so good luck with that one. So with that being said, let's go ahead and learn how to read a transaction. So we're going to punch in RaxOnRaxx's name, see if it pulls up. Ooh, the domain name entered is not registered on ENS. I could have swore his was on ENS.
The O on is a 0.
Well, that would explain why. Thank you very much, Sarah. So it's 0.
Yeah, I believe
Rax 0 Rax .eth. Does that pull it up? Nope. Okay, well, so that's a total fail. We'll pop back over here to our DEX tools. I'm just going to scroll down here and find the first human. There's a human one right there. Random one. We're going to pull up his EtherScan. So our first major thing that we see is, just like on DEX tools, EtherScan actually shows you what the price of Ether is at any given second, what our gas is showing. You have your base fee, you have your priority fee. These are fees that are always locked into any given thing that is done on the Ether blockchain. So that works like that. Ether, very simply, that's what Ether's price is. Just like on the home page, you have a search bar to where you can switch out if you need to. One of the nice things that I'm going to point out really quick is with EtherScan, if you're looking at multiple addresses, okay, you can have multiple different windows open at the same time with EtherScan, which makes it really nice if you're trying to track something. And all you have to do is simply pop back over to where you're looking at it from, which we're on the same exact contract, we're on Spell, and boom, just like that, we have a second address that we can look at along with the first one that we pulled up, and you can just flip back and forth in between and you can see them. So that makes it really, really nice. That is one of the features that I use whenever I am doing, for lack of a better word, I'm snooping and I'm looking for something. I'm looking for an NFT that is passed in between multiple wallets. I am following multiple transactions. If somebody has ripped somebody else off, I can pull up all sorts of different addresses and sit there and track them back and back and back. Or sideways, whichever way they go, I can simply pop back and forth. So that's a very nice feature that I like about using DEX tools with the EtherScan, and it ties back into each class that happens before. As our classes go on in these, I'm going to try to keep them linear to where we can follow along. The first one was on security, second one on DEX tools, now we're on to EtherScan. So we're making that progression on how to use the internet to best help you in order to trade cryptocurrency, to buy and sell NFTs, or to do whatever you're going to do with these different things on the DeFi side of cryptocurrency and NFTs as well. So with that being said, we're on the page where you're looking at a contract. You will always have the address bar up here. It'll have the full address, every single letter, number, numeral. You'll be able to copy that right here just by simply clicking on that. All you got to do is just do a left click, boom, it'll hit it. Or you can view the QR code if you want to use it that way. This button right here, this one's really nice because all you have to do is click on this button and it will bring up all the different blockchains that address is being used on. And as you can see, that address is used on 10 different blockchains, which means he's using it on all these different ones: EtherScan, Binance, Polygon, Snowtrace, Testnet. So this person is using this wallet to run tests on different testnets, which probably means he is either A, bot user, or B, he is creating tokens, and then he needs a testnet in which to do tests on. So he's using all those different testnets as well as actually using these 4 blockchains, my bad. Or no, he's actually on Gnosis chain too. So he is using 5 different blockchains with this same address, and then 5 different testnets. So he's a pretty active boy. And you could simply click on any one of these and it will take you to that blockchain's write-up on this particular address. And we could just pop on to different ones by simply left clicking on it. We'll pull up Polygon first. As you can see, he has 85 different tokens on Polygon. So he's a busy boy. We can just simply click back. It'll take us back to there. We could go on to Binance. It will show us, wow, he has 100+. That's what that little symbol right there is. He has 100+ tokens on Binance. So this guy is busy. He's a heavy hitter. With that being said, let's go ahead and we'll close this out. We'll go back to his EtherScan. So that shows that. Right here, you can actually send him messages through EtherScan. Now, the chances of somebody actually reading that message, it depends on just how busy they are and whether or not they have their notifications turned on. We'll go ahead and click on it to show you how it pops up. And right here, it shows that people have been talking to him on EtherScan. So that's pretty interesting. And it would appear that he is talking back to people. So who knows what he could be doing? Looks like the conversation is hodl, fear of missing out, good morning, ETH is on fire, blah, 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 such like that. So he actually is using it. So that's pretty interesting. So that's what that little button is for. Over here, we can go through buying and selling on different ones, exchanges. He can pop onto different exchanges that this address is attached onto. Here, you can maybe earn. I guess this would be more along the lines of for staking, it says. So you can actually stake through EtherScan. Me personally, I don't think I would stake any tokens or anything through EtherScan. I think I'd actually want to go to the website or to something that is built into that specific one for staking. I don't think I would use it through EtherScan. And as you can see, you can join into different gaming things through EtherScan as well. So EtherScan allows you to do a whole bunch of different things. In this class, we're basically wanting to learn how to read EtherScan. We don't really care all that much about all this other stuff, so we'll go ahead and we'll leave that for another day. Going to overview. This is the first major section of your EtherScan. It will show what their balance is on this chain, because we are on the Ether chain looking at this address, so it shows you exactly how much Ether that they have in this account. As we can see, their Ether value is $1,463. Now that's the amount of actual cash on hand, or Ether on hand. This next line will be your token line. So they have $6,500 worth of tokens and other tokens, and they have most of the money tied up in governance tokens, it would appear. So they have a decent amount of money tied up in there. They have 2 governance tokens, which I would have to do research and tell you what that is, but it's obviously something that's worth a whole bunch because it's worth $2,800 each. So there's where the bulk of their money is coming from. GODL is another type of token. So you can go down and you can see through all their different tokens that they have. And it looks like they do quite a lot of buying and selling, because I can see Floki, Baby Cat is on there. All of these ones that say A and then net or AK and swap, those aren't very good. Those are what's called dust tokens. And usually you want to kind of leave those alone. You don't want to click on them if they're in your wallet, because that's people that are fishing for your information more often than not. And they're hoping that you will click on their things, go to their stuff and find it interesting and then want to buy in. So that's one of the things you can think about, is anytime you see an A at the beginning or it says net on it or swap, those are dust tokens. Leave them alone unless you know exactly what they're there for, because it's usually for no good. So you can see that he's into a bunch of different things. There's a lot here going on. He's got Floki, Freedom. Wow, he's definitely a busy beaver. He's got all kinds of stuff. Let's go ahead and scroll down here. And yep, see, these ones even call them spam. So the other ones, they're usually in alphabetical order as well. I wanted to state that. So then we come down, and the first thing we see is ERC 721 tokens. So he has 46 NFTs that are under the 721 ERC banner. And as you can see how many he has of each one. It'll actually tell you if they're solid ones or not. Usually you would have to take a look. Oh, look at there. He has a Lazy Lions. So he's actually got a couple of decent ones by what I see. He's got a Sappy Seal in there. So this guy's definitely got some decent stuff. Gutter Punks, that's another big one. It'll show you all the different ones. Again, they're all in alphabetical order. It's easy to read them. And he's even got some under ERC 155. That's the next one on the list. He's got 7 in the open, which you would have to simply click on that and it will take you to a page, which we'll be doing that after a while. Show you how that is read. And you can go down and look at all the different ones that he's got. So this guy is definitely a busy beaver. He's done a lot of stuff. That's how those are laid out. It's very nice that if it's your own wallet, it will actually show you how many contracts that you have on this address itself. So it's a very quick way to pop it up, because if you don't have them all like on your MetaMask, you can go over to your EtherScan, pop up your EtherScan, boom, it'll tell you immediately how many contracts are tied onto this address itself, even though you might not have them all showing up on your MetaMask. So that makes it very nice. The other part over here, more info, since we're looking at just a regular contract, it doesn't usually have a whole lot of stuff over here. If you're looking at a contract tied onto an ERC20 token, it will usually have all of that info over here. So if we pull up, let's just go to the first one, let's say governance, and it will switch over. And as you can see, now all of a sudden, we have a whole different screen. And it takes us, it shows us the overview of the governance token, shows you your profile summary. Now over here in this section, tells you all the different things you need to know, the contract address, how many decimals did it start out with, which is places to the right of the decimal. Tells you the max supply, the amount of holders, diluted market cap, tells you everything you need to know about the governance OHM. And that's one of the first things that you do whenever you're looking at different things or you're trying to look up those things. Just like before, since we switched over to another page, this right here is filtered by the token holder, so it will show the page that we came from over to this page, because this is no longer this guy's contract. We are now looking at another contract, which is the governance token contract. And you can see how many transactions this address has had with this token. Okay, they've had 3, and it will usually be in chronological order. It started on 12/21 was the first time that they bought in, and they bought 2.88 tokens, and they've actually unstaked said token twice, once on that same day and then once on January the 4th. So, and it's really nice because if you scroll over it, it'll tell you immediately that it was done 210 days ago. So you don't have to try to figure it out on your own. It tells you what the method was done. We'll be seeing different methods. And over here, TXN is transaction. Every single thing that happens on the blockchain will have its own individual transaction hash number. And the reason why those numbers are so ungodly long is because they can make trillions upon billions upon trillions of numbers, and they don't have to worry about using the same transaction hash, because it'll never happen. Because if they need a brand new set of transaction hashes, they simply add another number onto the end of it, so it'll always be able to become bigger. So that's never going to be an actual problem whenever it comes to having transaction numbers. Just like whenever we were looking over at the main holder account, this one shows you the balance again, tells you the value. It will allow you to actually look at the contract from this page. You can look at the analytics, which means all the things that you've done on this particular token. You can look all of that up. So if you've done, say, 2,000 transactions, you can pull up all the analytics and see the flow chart of what exactly that you've done, how much money it's become, how much money you've sold out, etc., etc. You can look at the info that has to do. As you can see, there's no info on it. Punch on the contract. It will actually take you to the actual written contract of that token. If it's a solid, reputable token, this should be in here. There should always be contract source code. It even tells you what the source code was written in. If you want to learn how to read contracts, or if you're learning how to read contracts, I would advise any given person that is learning that to go and pull up different tokens contracts and simply look at them. Learn how they're written, because if you're learning how to do contract codes, the best thing to do is to look at ones that work very well already, to where you can familiarize yourself with them, and it'll help you learn that much more. Me personally, I wouldn't be able to teach that class because I don't care about how something is actually wrote out. Now, if I need to go and look at it, yes, I can actually read it. I know what's being said. But whenever it comes to making one, I don't want to put myself through that. I would rather pay somebody to make it for me that I trust. I would rather use my abilities and my knowledge better in other areas, which is not code writing. Code writing is extremely hard sometimes. So that's how that goes. It'll show you contract security alerts or audits if anything has been done. This one has not been audited, so there's no information here. It gives you all the different things that you need to know about that contract. These are all things that if you're a code writer, you would be much more knowledgeable on this than I am, because I, like I said, have not studied code writing. I've done a little bit, but not in depth. Whenever I say study, that means I've sat down and spent a good 40 hours learning how to do it. And like I said, I don't have the want, will, or desire to actually do that. But that's how you can look up the actual code on any given token, is through this area right here. With that being said, this is all the other things that go along with it. The optimization, there's no optimization put on it. Compiler version, all the different things you need to know about contract, you can find on that page. Taking a look at the analytics, there shouldn't be a whole lot on here. There should only be 3 items. There we go. See, he went from a 2.6 balance down to a 2.22 balance. 3 transactions. He got it. He sold a little bit there, sold a little bit more. Boom. There's all of them. So there's looking at that. We can go back 1 page, go back 2 pages. Come on, take me back. Oh, you know what? The easier way would just be to do this. Just click right on the address. Boom, takes us right back. So with that being said, now we'll go down here and we'll check out all the different transactions and what they mean, how they are categorized. Everything should be in chronological order, because it will happen by the date and the time. If it happens at the exact same time, we go ahead and we look at the block and see right on the actual block itself which transaction it was on the actual block itself. This guy doesn't do things by a bot. It doesn't look like too much. He does some things. Well, I guess right there, that one was probably done by a bot because it happened at the exact same time. But for the most part, there's not super close together times. If there's times that are super close and a whole bunch of them, it tells me that this is a bot that is running this address. So this one looks human to me just by first glance, because I can see multiple times. There's not the same exact time. The only time we have the same exact time is whenever he's doing a swap to a multi-call, which is a normal situation. So this is definitely a human, in my admission, to who is using this, because I can tell just by looking at the times, which these are things that I actually trained myself on how to read EtherScan. I trained myself to be able to look for bots. I even have an entire YouTube video where I spent 3 hours dissecting a contract, looking for the different bots on the contract. And I was actually able to spot, I believe, 61 out of the 73 that an actual certified bot finder found. He found 73 different contracts, while I verified 61 of them before we ever sent the contract off to the bot verifier. So I found 61, he found 73. I'd pretty much say I know exactly what I'm doing with this, and I'm pretty damn good at reading. So that's just a little bit of padding. So let's go back and we'll take a look at the first transaction. Everything is broken down very simply. You have the transaction hash number. It will tell you what it was. It was a multi-call, which means he was either buying or selling something, which will be shown over here. It tells you what block, the time, the date, tells you from what address, which we already know that they all came from the same address, his address, this one right here. And like I said before in the other class, you always want to try to memorize the last 4 of your own address or the first 5, because whenever you're looking at Dex tools, we'll pop back over there real quick. If you look right here, it shows the first 4 and the last 4. So you want to know what your contract number is. And like the one that we're looking at, I believe, is this one, isn't it? 08. Yes, it is. Or is it? I'm not sure. We'll go back over here. But like I said, it's good to memorize the first 4 of your address and the last 4 of your address, so that at any given time you'll know whether or not you're looking at the proper thing, because it's very easy to get confused whenever you're going through a whole bunch of them. So that's just one of those little things that I use. As you can see, they're all from his, so it's very easy to follow that category. If you're looking at a token, like whenever we were over in the governance, all of these would all be different probably, because they're coming from or going to different addresses and the such like that. It'll tell you that the multi-call was going out of this wallet to Uniswap router, so he was probably buying tokens. And it'll even tell you how much the transaction fee was. At any given time, you can see that the transaction fees are different, which we know that because we see that whenever you look at the GUI, priority fee, base fee, they change, so the transaction fees are always changing. We'll go ahead and we'll pull up a transaction hash, and this is what the transaction detail page brings us to. It will tell us everything we need to know about this specific transaction, when it happened, how it happened, why it happened, and what was done. So we know that the transaction hash, see how long that tag is, very simple. They're never going to run out of numbers, people. They can always just add on another number or another letter. It tells us that the transaction was successful. On a failed one, it will tell you that it failed. It might even tell you why it failed. It might say it's out of gas, because there'll be an out of gas right down here that it'll show you. So that makes it very nice. It tells you exactly what block it's on. It will tell you the amount of blocks that it was confirmed on. It tells you everything. That's why blockchain is so nice. Whereas in real life, you can take a dollar bill, you can pass it off to somebody else. That person can pass that dollar bill off to somebody else. Before you know it, the dollar bill is circulating around. You have no idea where it's been. On blockchain, if you pass something off on the blockchain, it will tell you where it goes to, what time it went there, and if it's still there or not. You go to that block, you take a look at it. You can see if that actual moved. If it moved off of there, did it go somewhere else? You can track things very quickly and very easily with EtherScan. So that makes it very, very nice. It breaks it down to the actual second that it happened. It tells you when by the little timestamp. And over here, it will even tell you what these things mean. Date and time at which the transaction is mined. Number of the block in which the transaction is recorded. It makes it really simple. And like I taught before in the last class, I follow a very simple method. It's the KISS. It's the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. There are so many people that are not well trained on either EtherScan or on DEX tools or any number of different things. The easiest way in which to teach somebody, keep it simple. So makes it really, really easy. You can simply scan over things. It tells you exactly what's going on. Like this next line is highlighted events of the transaction. Go back up to the timestamp. It actually tells you that it was confirmed within 30 seconds on the blockchain. So by reading confirmed within 30 seconds, he either used a high, the aggressive form of gas or just normal gas. He didn't use slow gas. If the blockchain is moving really slow, if gas is moving really slow, if ether is moving really slow, it might take a couple of minutes. It might take an hour to confirm. If you're using low gas, it could take 2 or 3 hours to confirm. But this one was done very quickly, so I would have to say that he used a high gas or he just did it at a very good time. So everything is right here in the transaction details. You just need to learn how to read it properly. So we look at the transaction action, and it says that he swapped Rune for USDC, United States dollar coin, on Uniswap. It tells you exactly what he did. It tells you what time he did it. He tells you what he did it for. As this up here tells you that he swapped Rune for 296 USD. The very next line, he swapped the 296 USDC for 0.179 Ether. Now this takes it out multiple spaces. Ether does that because they work all the way down into the billionths. Because if you think about it, 1 decimal, that's a 1, that's the 10th, 100,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 10 million, blah, 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 going on down the line. Ether always uses a whole bunch of numbers because they want it down to the gnat's butt. So it tells you exactly what happened. It tells you from the contract that it was used. You could actually click on this contract code and it will take you right to where it came from, which we already know that it came from his wallet because we can remember that number, 17BE. It went from his wallet. He interacted with the contract Uniswap, transferred, shows it what it did. It changed it from wrapped Ether over to Uniswap. Then it traded it from Uniswap over to the contract that it was going there. Tokens transferred, it tells you exactly what he did. He traded Labyrinth. It shows the different amounts of Labyrinth. If there's a sell tax, that sales tax will show here because it'll be a different amount of the tokens, which I would have to imagine that there's a sell percentage on Labyrinth because it took out 2 different amounts from the 558. And he actually put these back into Labyrinth because these were pulled out. This is how much he actually sold of Labyrinth, was 546 versus the 558 that he did. So he actually lost 11, which I'm not going to count up all those decimals. I'd be sitting here forever. And you can see where it changed it in. It tells you exactly how much money he got in this section, which it tells you up here the same exact amount. See? USDC 296 right there. 296.35 USDC. That's how much he got. And tells you the value, tells you the transaction fee. He paid $4.48. Tells you how much that he paid in gas. And that's the transaction right there. Everything you need to know. Shows it to you. Boom. Just like that. Then you can simply click the back button. It'll take you back to your transactions. We can go down here. I'm going to actually go back a couple of transactions. Let's go ahead and look at the full list of transactions because I want to show you something on those. We're going to go back. Let's just go all the way back to the last page, back to whenever he first started using this. So we can see that his first transaction was transferring from Binance into this wallet. That was his first ever transaction done on this wallet, and it was done on 6/22 of 21. So over a year ago, okay? We're going to look for, let's see, this one should be a good one to look at, is an approved transaction. You can see the different transactions. He's swapping Ether for tokens. Here it's approved, so this is the one I want to look at. So this was from a year ago. Tells us that right here, 405 days ago. This one was also confirmed in 30 seconds. He approved HODL for trade on the Uniswap. So this one doesn't show what I want to show you. Drat. Let's go back, find one that I'm looking for. Go to the previous page, page 12. Okay, right here's a good one to look at. You see that right there? There was an error. So this is actually happened. You can tell that immediately because of the error code. So he had to do it again. And as you can see, the very next one, yep, he did. He was exchanging something. So atomic match usually means that you're buying an NFT. Each one is done differently. Like here, he's minting an NFT. Here, he's transferring money. Here, he's actually selling an NFT. So we'll check this out, see if I was right. He's transferring a token, transfer of OpenSea shared storefront, so he's selling an NFT right here. That's what it tells me. And I'm trying to find one where he is buying and selling cryptocurrency. Okay, this might work, this one. Yeah, here's what I was looking for. Okay, So he did this 361 days ago. He is simply transferring Ether. See where this says display of current value? On the day that this was done, Ether's value was $3,287. If you left click on it, it tells you the estimated value on the day of the transaction, which on the day that he did this, 1.99 Ether was worth $5,769. Today, it's only worth $3,287. Now, that's extremely cool, I think, because at any given time, you can look back in your transactions and it will tell you how much Ether that you spent. Like this guy spent 1.99 Ether. Now it's only worth $3,287 at 1.99. But on the day that he did this transaction, 1.99 Ether was worth $5,769. So I just wanted to show you that because I think it's kind of cool. And the same thing goes, it's the same whenever you look at it. He paid $5.04 in gas transaction versus what it would be worth today. It would only be $2.87. So that's that one thing that I wanted just to show you. So that's kind of cool. And the different methods, you can see where he's minted. You can see where he sold NFTs. Transferred funds. Again, here's one that didn't go through. Yep, see, fail. The first thing that pops out, big red. I love that, how they do it in the big red. Automatically shows a fail on the status, and it even tells you why it did it. Error encountered during contract execution. So while he was busy trying to buy that, it errored and canceled the entire transaction. Now, one of the things that's very important about this is that if you kill a transaction while you're buying an NFT, it will charge you gas. If you're buying tokens and you cancel it while it is going through the process of being confirmed, it will charge you gas. If you don't put enough gas, if you set like a maximum on the gas during your transaction and it goes up and it hits that point of gas, it will take that money from you, period. You lose it. Therefore, whenever you're setting up your transactions, you need to make sure that you have enough gas in which it will go through, because if it hits that maximum gas, you're losing that money. It doesn't matter what the amount is. I can personally tell you I've lost upwards of a few $100s on gas transactions because I set the gas way too low. It was a very teachable moment. I kicked myself in my own ass and got better at what I was doing very quickly. So it's a very expensive lesson whenever you lose a few $100s. It's extremely learning. So this one tells you that he canceled it. So he lost $433 because he canceled it. Ouch. But if he's able to throw around 2 Ether at a time, probably doesn't have a problem. So let's go ahead and go back to the first page, which you can see right there. He has 13 pages. We hit first page, boom, brings us back to page 1. And he's a pretty active puppy. As you can see, he does a lot of transactions. Here he's depositing some money from Tornado. He's using Tornado. Now, personally, the first thing I would think whenever I see tornadoes being used, he's wanting to scrub the money clean. Because right here, he's transferring 10 Ether out to Tornado. So if I was doing research on this wallet, and I see that he's buying and selling NFTs, he's moving money around, he's buying different tokens, he's selling different tokens, but he's using Tornado. Why is he using Tornado? Is he hiding it from the government, or is he hiding it from something illicit that he's doing? That's the first thing that comes to my mind. And you can see that he's using multiple different things. He's using Saddle, he's using Sushi, buying Alchemist coin, he's using Uniswap. So he's using multiple different routers on this same account. Sushi, Central, he's buying different things, selling different things. I would be wary of what this guy is doing. seriously, because he's using so many different things. Hummingbot. Wow. Says it right in the name that he's using a bot. So these are different things where if you're using EtherScan to track somebody, or you're trying to find out whether or not the contract for a token that you're wanting to buy into, or a contract for an NFT that you're wanting to buy into, if they have certain things on them like those, I would be wary. Look at the amount of money that's being moved. If there's all zeros here, it means it's less than a 0.001, I believe, because they only go out 2 decimals normally. If it's smaller than that, it just shows a 0. So those are things you can look at whenever you're reading. It'll either say out or in. We went over the fact where if it's red, something is wrong. This is a process going on. Everything, it tells you everything that you need to know, or you might want to know. As you get more and more familiar with EtherScan, you can start going into the different things, how to read them all, how to look up different ones, how to look up 2 of them at the same time, like I stated before. There's so many different things that you can do with EtherScan. It's beyond amazing how you can track people through EtherScan, and how you can track yourself through EtherScan. All you got to do is punch in your own address right into EtherScan. It will bring up this exact page. It'll have your address. It'll have everything that you have done on that wallet right at your fingertips. And you can look at every single one. You can see how everything is broke down. You can see how much gas you paid. You can see how much you've paid in transaction fees just by looking at them. Everything you need to know is all on EtherScan. Do we have any questions from anybody? Let's take a look at the Discord and see how many people we got in here. Hey, we're up to a few more. Anybody have any questions? Did I put everybody to sleep?
For now. We're still here, I'm sure.
What'd you guys think? Should I go over anything else on these, or is that a pretty much basic understanding of how to use EtherScan? Somebody give me feedback. Sarah's probably over in the Twitter space screaming at somebody.
Sorry, dude, I had a mouthful of food. No, it's good up to now. I've got nothing more to ask about.
Right on. Well, with that, I think we will call this, because I can hear my voice starting to scramble in the back of my throat. Let's see. We will figure out what we're going to go over next week here on